Live. Hello and welcome, SuccessGrid Nation, to this episode of the SuccessGrid podcast. In this episode, it is about success, and that success is only given and served to those who are bold and courageous enough to go and make things happen. Joining me in this episode, Angela Marshall. She is a public figure, professional writer, columnist, best-selling author, creative consultant, and business owner of the In Other Words by Stone. She teaches, enlightens, and shares motivation and transparent topics, encouraging struggles to strength. Angela has inspired minds to stretch and evolve across the globe. Angela, welcome to the SuccessGrid podcast.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. That sounded really impressive. You made me sound important there. Thank you.
Well, you are an individual, a unique individual.
Being.
Yeah.
I am a being. That is correct.
Yeah.
We are all important.
Exactly. So first of all, this is something that when I read, like, when you tell your mind you are, it believes you. So it's very important that we tell our mind we are worthy of whatever we want to achieve, what success means to us. So this is the SuccessGrid podcast. Can you first start with telling the SuccessGrid Nation and whoever listening that what success is in your own definition, and what do you think or believe is like contradicting other people's beliefs or definition of it?
Absolutely. Again, thank you so much for having me. I'm going to start with the latter because most people like to dive into what they think success is, and it usually is something like materialistic possessions. It could be bank accounts. It could be letters before your name, after your name. It could be a particular zip code, address. To me, that is not success. And it is not a definition of success. It's not the epitome of success. It has nothing to do with success. To me, when you acquire who you are, why you are, and what your purpose is for being here, whatever that light is, that only you, Y-O-U, and myself, me, what I can bring in service to this world, that is true success. When I found my niche, being able to positively impact and inspire and influence through my words, work, and wisdom to this world, I was like, oh my God, this is like ultimate success. And what's crazy is being a former NFL wife, which is National Football wife. My ex-husband played in the football league for many years. I honestly thought that was the epitome of success. Like, that's how you gauge success, by that particular lifestyle, or I don't know, I guess a certain measure of that lifestyle, if you would. But my trials, my tribulations, my roller coaster ride during this journey, going up and down, and then the divorce from him, being separated from him, just the different alignments that I had that weren't necessarily successful or success piece that helped me to understand who I am and what success really means. It has been an incredible journey, understanding that success is one, deciding what you want to do in life and why you want to do it. Two, success is determination, being determined to do what it is that you say that you want to bring forth in this life. Three, the ultimate success, dealing with all of those things, because if you think that every morning when you wake up, like you're just going to jump out of bed because you have this newfound purpose and meaning and everything is going to be a bed of roses all the time, not going to happen. So dealing, I'm successful because I'm able to deal, right, with adversity, with obstacles, with different things that come my way. And then the ultimate success is that the end destination, whatever that is, whatever that goal is that I've set for myself, whatever that, achievement that I want to bring forth into my life, that's ultimate success.
Yeah. So like, it's like you brought something very important here. First, when you were, for example, with your ex-husband, like when you were together, you attached success and what it meant to you by his achievements, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So this is not something that actually relates to you personally, because he was, now whatever that you did for yourself, that's something, and whatever he did in his career in sports, that's something to completely different. So how did you feel when you got separated, let's say, for whatever reason? But how did you feel? Did you feel like you lack success now? Now this is something that I have should go and pursue for my own, on my own vision, and not relate this type of things to other people and other individuals, like all you also mentioned, because a lot of people attribute or revolve to around physical stuff or money, these kind of things.
Well, first of all, let me say, in order to succeed, you must what? Fail. So I failed miserably as it related to our relationship at that time. And of course, you are very reserved, you're withdrawn, you feel overwhelmed with a lot of a sense of not being good enough or not being worthy, or why did this happen? So I went through that period first and foremost. What I don't like to do is set this stage like I come before you and I'm so polished to where I can't be transparent with my troubles and my woes, because there were a lot of them, obviously. So in order for me to get to a place of understanding what true success is, I had to fail, and I keep failing over and over and over and over again. Now, with that being said, what happens in my mind is that when I fail now, I'm able to pop back a lot quicker. I'm able to come back a lot stronger and a lot wiser, a lot bolder, and a lot better. So going from that lifestyle, the divorce, different things that played out in my personal life at that time that led me to, say, okay, what is my purpose? Like, why am I here? Who am I? I know who I was with him. I know who others told me I should be with him, which I didn't find any consolation. There was no fulfillment until, and I'm not, let me just put this disclaimer out there. I'm not an advocate for divorce. I'm not an advocate for separation. I'm not an advocate for, not trying in your relationships and your partnerships and your kinships, whatever that looks like. Please try until you can't try anymore, which is what I did. And then I took the necessary steps to be honest with myself, to be honest with my ex, and say, I'm really not going to help you on your journey. You're not going to help me on my journey. This is something where we probably need to just remove our energy and our space from each other and just see how we can grow. And actually, we're better people now because of it.
Awesome. Because I like this quote that I read on your, that when you tell your mind who you are, it believes you. So like, for example, you talked about also failures, and of course you cannot reach a certain goal or you go to a certain point in life that you already want to achieve unless you go like into a zigzagging path. You cannot, there is no like straight path to your own success, right? So how any individual, like especially the people who are like have negative people around them and they are personally negative, they have negative thoughts about themselves and they cannot achieve what they want to achieve, how they can like switch it 180 degrees?
So one of the ways that you can convert, I call it converting the downs in life to wins. One of the ways that you can do that is by pouring more into yourself, so that whenever your mind, when you start self-doubt, or when you're being externally attacked, right? By people, negative situations and places, and even things can have, a negative connotation or negative energy as well. Being able to withstand those, but first you have to build yourself up. See, society, in my opinion, society has taught us to value everybody else's opinion, their story, their life, their truth, their needs, their whatever, over ourselves. And that's, to me, that's a recipe and for failure. It will only lead to bitterness. It will lead to resentment, And then to me, I think that's really what puts a lot of strains on relationships. And then with mental health, just being able to feel or feeling drained, feeling overwhelmed, feeling not loved, not worthy enough, not valuable. So to me, when you tell your mind, when you tell your heart who you are and what you are, why you are, whatever that is, if I look in the mirror and I say, you know, I'm probably not going to do this, or I'm a failure, or I don't look pretty enough, or I'm not strong enough, or I'm not, you know, I'm not intelligent enough to retain whatever the case is, or I won't get this promotion. You won't. It's just that simple, because if you are a spiritual person or not, I believe in the basic fundamentals of what you speak, what you think is what you will align with, and what you will actually bring into you know, into your environment and into your energy. Now, with that being said, a lot of times I have doubts. People don't, from the highest positive person to the lowest negative person, there are doubts constantly. The key to it is making sure, again, that you are pouring into yourself, you're building yourself up, you have other people, key people in place that can help you to, you know, to be uplifted, to be illuminated, to be inspired. And then those are the times when you will be successful in thwarting off any doubts, any, you know, negative thoughts that you may have, or that others may be hurling at you, or sometimes even just, you know, when we're watching TV or looking at videos or shows, and they're sending these negative messages, right? Like, oh, I don't look like her. Oh, I don't have this. Oh, I don't have the latest bag, or, you know, I don't work at this particular company or whatever. You know, you will be able to look at those things for what they truly are. You know, it's great to look at other people's accomplishments for either, you know, goal setting purposes, but, you know, you won't be into the whole comparison thing that I think plays a big part in you know, our minds, is us thinking that we're failures as well.
Yeah, so that's important. Like, we don't have to compare our place, our situation, where we are, to others people, because, like, for example, if you're looking to certain individuals to where they are now, for example, maybe they have you are going to get started now, you are on the start line now.
Yep.
Others who are you're looking to, maybe they have started 5, 10, 20 years ago. So it's not just about the time, it's also about the effort that you put in. Some people might started only 2 years ago and achieve what they want to achieve, because it's also time corresponds back also with the efforts put into what you want to achieve, right?
Absolutely. And not only that, even that person who started 10, 20, 30 years ago, or maybe it's somebody who's really on their grind and they just started 5 years ago and they appear to be light years ahead of you. Trust me, there are some weaknesses there. You know, I talk about that with my children and my grandchildren a lot. It's like, just because I'm older, I'm perceived to be wiser, it does not mean that I have every strength that is needed, you know, for me to maintain to be this successful person. Because I mean, there's some areas where I learned from my 13-year-old or almost 13-year-old grandson, my 4-year-old grandson, my 15-year-old grandson, my 35-year-old son, my 32-year-old daughter. It's like I'm constantly learning and submitting in whatever area where the person has the strength that I need in order to be successful.
Yeah, of course. Like, that's very important. Like, we always going to keep learning in our life. It's not like you are, it's sit and done, and you don't have to keep learning certain things, whether to improve certain skills or like to learn new skills that will help you go to where that you want to go. Like, because like you mentioned, success does not happen without failures, and you cannot learn if you don't fail. If if you, whatever goal you put yourself and you succeed from the first try or the second try, and you don't face a lot of obstacles, right? Well, good for you. But usually that's not the case.
Well, and then the other thing is that just because they didn't face obstacles in this, you know, this particular climb or this particular level, trust me, there are levels where there will be failures and there will be obstacles. I mean, even listening to the greats, the Oprahs and the Steve Jobs and, everyone, the Wright brothers, everyone failed horrifically, right? Over and over and over, thousands and thousands and thousands of tries. So yeah, you see that, you get there, it's like getting at the end of the tunnel and you see that light, you're like, I made it. And then more dirt gets on you, or your walls cave in. It's like, oh, okay, well, now I got to start all over again. But that's where, to me, that's the true definition of success, to say, you know what, I'm going to keep on trying. And even though I hit this wall, well, maybe I need to go left. Maybe I need to go right. Maybe I need to go up. Maybe I need to, take a pause or bring other people in. I mean, there's different phases of what you need to be doing and why you need to be doing it along this journey of success.
Yeah, so that's very important. Like in sports, like they count scores, how many goals or certain scores that had a certain team put together team, right, in order to win. But in life, we don't have to keep this kind of score. Do you think it's important to see how many times that we have succeeded or failed, or does not matter?
Well, I will say this, for me, as it relates to understanding whether I've regressed or progressed, I wouldn't necessarily call it scorekeeping. I would call it just gauging what I did. So then that way, if I did something and I was successful in it and it worked, okay, how do I compound that and make it work even more? Or if it was something that I did and it was a total wash, knowing I don't ever want to do that again. So I wouldn't necessarily say that I look at things and I keep a score sheet like, oh, well, 10 times I did this and I didn't fail and it was a success. More times than not, I'm looking at it from the viewpoint of, okay, I did it. What were my steps? What were the tips and tools that I used to get me, through and get me over that level?
Yeah. So speaking of success and failures, like, do you think it is important for people to, like you mentioned, the Wright brothers and these people and Oprahs? So do you think it's important for anyone that wants to achieve certain things or certain kind of success, whatever success means to them, to the other people's stories, to learn what happened to their own lives? Because like when these people tell their stories and they mention, for example, the failures that they had, some people might feel like discouraged. Oh, like 10, 20, 100,000, 10,000 times they failed. So that will take me 25, 50 years until I will be successful when I am 90.
Well, I will say this, as long as you can look at another person's story or their journey and you can make connections, what you don't want to do is look at it, view it from a competition status. You want to look at it at the connections and you want to make those. Well, for me, when I look at another person's, let's just say either author, writer, all of the things that I do, I'm a creative content consultant, I'm a public speaker. I look at what other people are doing and have done, and I look at it in amazement. One, because I know the process. Like I know that it takes a lot of grit. It takes a lot of just self-pumping up to say, okay, I'm going to do this again, whether I'm going to, try to be successful at this, whether it's in front of 3 people, 300 people, 3,000 people. Maybe I make $3, $30, $3,000, $30,000. So I look at them in awe, knowing that there's a process. So I think when you can look at another person's or hear another person's story, and you can actually translate it as, okay, let me make a connection with mine, with my journey, with my lanes, with what my goals, my aspirations. And then you can utilize that to, for when there are those times like, oh my God, I'm going to be 90, like you said, I'm going to be 90 before I can even achieve anything because, she had all of these downfalls or he had all of these downfalls and it took them so long. But then I think also being able to just look back. One of the things that I spoke with my mentees this morning was we also have to take time to understand and to appreciate the small wins. So even though, yes, it may take me 80 years to go 100 yards, but I went yard 1, yard 2, yard 3, yard, and there were a lot of blessings and a lot of opportunities and a lot of connections, a lot of memories and a lot of moments during that time that make it the success that it is, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's very important that you mentioned now it's about the steps that you take, the moments that you accomplish, celebrating these small wins, because these ones that lead to the big one, and you actually, when you reach that, you are fulfilled, like you also talked about earlier about fulfillment. So because eventually my success might be fulfillment, like it's not about the money in the bank. Yes, as humans, eventually we want more. Like if when we have a million, we want 2, 10, 20, whatever it is. This is just the general thought of us. We want to double things all the time. We want to have more zeros. But the little steps, achieving certain things, contributing to other people's and helping them in certain ways, right? So all of these things, fulfillment in our own life, with our family and other stuff. So this is what could be success is to us.
That is absolutely correct. Success is different based on who you ask. And to me, there's no right or wrong. I don't care if it's a person that is honest in their delivery and they say, success for me is having $100 million. Hey, go for it, put forth the effort, the grit, the grind, the growth, and achieve it. And then if you want another 100 million, hey, go for it, the grit, the grind, the growth, do it. And then for someone else, like for me, true success is being able to leave a legacy for my children and my grandchildren, because then I know that those seeds that are planted are going to change lives. It's going to change mindsets. It's going to change environments. It's going to change how my entire bloodline moves forward. And that is what I'm after. Like my true goal in life is to just impact. It's to celebrate, is to illuminate, is to motivate those through my words, work, and wisdom. And if I can do that, and it starts, you know, as we all know, it starts with your family, because to me, yes, I'm happy, I'm overjoyed when I get you know, messages and I get phone calls from strangers, or just knowing the impact is felt all across the globe. But I'm more ecstatic when my grandchildren or my children or someone that's really, really close to me, because that's like a direct line that is being impacted. And to me, that's true success.
Yeah, that's amazing. So do you think a lot of people think about this like this is might relate, for example, to purpose in life, and you could have multiple purposes in life throughout your life, right? And this could, like you mentioned, it's about legacy, having a legacy for yourself, like a lot of people contributing to the community and the world. This legacy, do you think that each human being should leave a legacy behind, let's say?
I will say this, each being has the capability to. Now, whether or not they decide to do it and what that looks like, of course, we already know it's going to be up to that being. So I don't necessarily want to say that there's a should factor, because then, you know, that's when you get the backlash, like, oh, you're telling me what, or you know, something on down the road, somebody's going to clip from SuccessGrid podcast that one little thing, and then they're going to cancel me, right? Then I'm going to be calling you like, whoa, wait a minute, can you like release the whole clip out? So I'm not going to say that this is what anyone should be doing. I will just say that the capability for each one of us, if we are mentally and emotionally and spiritually grounded and whole and well, yeah, the capability is definitely there to leave a healthy legacy, whatever that looks like. And that's a broad answer, because like I said, you know, leaving a legacy for me is this. A legacy being left by my son, maybe something by, you know, my best friend, it may be something else. And to me, there's no right or wrong.
Yeah, definitely. So in your opinion, should we as humans look out for mentors to accelerate our success for us, whatever that is, because they have already faced certain issues, had certain failures that we might also we are going to face, that we might not know that we are going to face?
Let me say this emphatically. If you are the smartest person in the room, it's a problem, okay? Because mentors, I don't care whether it's a business partner, it could be a family member, anyone that has the expertise in any area of life where you want to excel, you definitely should be submitting to that person's knowledge and experience, because it's only going to make you better. Just because I'm this age and I've lived, this many lives or however, it does not mean that I know it all and I am this guru and this, expert. Like, I have expertise, but I would definitely not consider myself a guru. One of the things that really, really bothers me, and again, I'm gonna throw a disclaimer out there. One of the things that bothers me is when people say, oh, she's arrived or he's arrived, because to me, we should always be striving to be lifelong learner, period. The moment your mind or your ability to absorb knowledge and wisdom ceases, you stop growing. And to me, like, what type of life, what type of life really is that? So absolutely, I have 3 mentors, and I have been availing myself to that since 2016, and it's been phenomenal. I will say that I also have, in addition to those mentors, I have accountability people. I have this one friend who I absolutely love to life. I call her, we've been friends ever since we were 4 or 5 years old.
Wow, really? That's amazing.
Yes, I call her my mirror friend, because she's the one that makes me look at myself and holds me, accountable to the door. And I think that those relationships are important. To me, it's not just about having a person that wants to go party or wants to be there during the good times, or that's just like, oh, well, you don't like her, so I don't like her, or we don't like this, or if I'm doing something wrong, they're, boosting me up to continue to do something wrong. No, like, having the constructive criticism is so important, because that's only going to make you a better person. But for those who may not want to be better in that manner, I get it. Hey, have at it. But yeah. I strongly suggest mentors or accountability partners, people in your life. Like, it's so important. Yes.
So success only for the bold. Why is that? Because a lot of us, we want to achieve certain things that we have never used to achieve before. We don't want to go out of this, let's say, comfort zone. So I'm sure usually there is no other way to except to go out of this zone to achieve what you want to achieve, if something that you never done or achieved before, right?
So let me ask you this. Do you know any successful weak people? So yes, success is a dish served only to the bold. Like, you can't be intimidating. You can't be a person who, doesn't want to take steps forward, or for that matter, even take a few blows back and then continue to step forward. Like, you have to be bold, and you have to be able to get up and try again, and then get up and try again, and then get up and try a different way. And to me, only people who are bold, that are brave, that are brilliant in their mindsets, in their delivery, just in their determination, you have to be in order to be successful. And again, we're not talking about being bold, taking risks, getting on the market and selling stocks and money, because I think it's important to really repeat that over and over again, because a lot of people, that's how they truly gauge the success factor. And that's absolutely not what we're talking about here.
Yeah. So what do you say some of the most important, let's say, tools, resources, or books that would help people into achieving their own success?
Okay, here are my top three. The Mountain Is You by Brianna West. That is one that I purchased some time ago, and understanding the dynamics of the relationship with myself. Because ultimately, and I mentioned this to my daughter when we were having a talk earlier, I don't care who says what externally or what happens. Ultimately, the only thing and the only person that you can control is you. So The Mountain Is You is a phenomenal book. Obviously, anything by Napoleon Hill, anything by Bob Proctor, let's see, anything by Les Brown, Tony Robbins, all of the greats are phenomenal. The Mountain Is You, The Courage to Be Disliked. I don't want to butcher his name. I don't want to butcher the author's name, so I'm not. But The Courage to Be Disliked is another phenomenal one. And then, of course, my guy, Robert Greene, the 48 Laws of Power. All of those books, for me, helped me tremendously on my success road. Now, I mean, I read books like crazy. I internalize them, I absorb them. And then what's most important, I apply the knowledge and the experiences, just the wisdom that I gleaned from those pages in that book. Before, I used to just read for pleasure. But now, I'm reading with like the intent for me to do better and to be better. So definitely one thing that was drilled into my brain very early is that learners are earners and readers are leaders.
Yeah, that's very important. Like it's cool to read for pleasure, but it's also important to implement, because you should have certain intentions, I believe, maybe when you read certain book, right? Because to me, especially if you read these kind of personal development or business books that you want to learn the founder stories or learn certain business tactics or marketing strategies, you should go and basically implement them. If you want to read for pleasure, maybe you should read I don't know, maybe the fiction books. I don't know.
Well, I will say I'm an advocate just for reading, period, because I think that when you avail yourself to words,
you have imagination.
That's correct. It's going to build the imagination, which then builds the intent. It builds the intention. And then what that should translate to is implementation. So all of that is a process. I used to be very hard-nosed, and I know that's hard for y'all to believe. I used to be very hard-nosed, like, no, people need to read, and you need to read so that you can apply. But once I started reading and understanding just how powerful words are, whether it's fiction, nonfiction, it could be the young teen, the different genres of reading, I just kind of said, you know what? Reading in general is just phenomenal, because I think it helps you to absorb what you want to do in life, and then also how to, just be an impactful person. Even if you're reading something like a magazine, it could be whatever, that's just for pleasure, but usually there's something in there that's going to help your brain or help you, whether it's a feel-good word or it's a power word, right? And so yeah, definitely reading is fundamental. Can't state that enough. And I think it's very, very necessary. I make it a point. I don't care. That's why a lot of times I get to places early, or what I've started doing is when I go to different appointments, I go early, I'll sit in my vehicle, or if, based on the office, whether or not they let you in early now due to, COVID, still some of the guidelines and stuff, I'll sit out in my vehicle and I will just read. I will get my reading in no matter what. It's like second nature now. So that's yes, amazing. Readers are leaders, people.
Yeah, of course. So can you tell the SuccessGrid Nation something that we have not mentioned, or some kind of a takeaway for this episode?
Let's see. Here's a great one for you. You will never possess what you are unwilling to pursue. So being able to go for whatever it is that you want in life, whether it's a great relationship, if you want to be a good mother, a good father, a good husband, you want to be a good business owner, a good salesperson, whatever it is that you want in life, You will never possess it unless you're willing to pursue it. And within that pursuit, there are tips, there's tools, there's levels, there's different things that you must do in order to acquire it, in order to attain it. So let's get after it. Let's pursue what we want and pursue it. I mean, like, pursue it aggressively.
Yeah, that's funny. We should have hunger to pursue what we set up ourselves to do, right? Because if we don't pursue certain things will not come to us.
It's not. Well, I'll tell you this. I've been on this earth 51 years. And I don't care how long I've sat and wanted osmosis for money to fall out the sky or the perfect this or that. It's never happened. Now, with that being said, being able to speak it, to think it, to believe it, and then put action behind it, 100%. That I've 100% received everything, everything that I've pursued and put my mind to. Yes,
definitely. Well, Angela, amazing talk here with me on this episode of the SuccessGrid podcast. Where can people get in touch with you, learn more about you?
Thank you again for having me. I appreciate it. I am all over social media. You can Google Angela Marshall. You can also find me at www.inotherwordsbystone.com. That is my website. And for all of you Googlers out there, you can Google Angela Marshall, Augusta, Georgia, because there are, of course, other Angela Marshalls out there. Only one me.
Awesome.
So thank you again.
Awesome. And thank you, Angela, for being today with me on this episode of the SuccessGrid podcast.